Welcome to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor. आप सबनों प्यार भरी सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार, आदाब and shalom. First of all, Eid Mubarak to the Muslim community, and Eid al-Fitr just passed away. Before even we go in there, make sure that you write to hstoor@gmail.com your opinion, your issues, your concerns, so that if there are anything we can talk about, which I can talk about and share, that will be great. Now, yes, we just had Eid al-Fitr in New York City. It was a school holiday, so the kids, they enjoyed extra day off from the school. But now the question is, yes, we have a lot of things going on in the rest of the world, especially when it comes down to America and the rest of the world, and under the current Trump administration. So when you start to look at where to start and what to start, nobody really knows. Everybody was so used to having some sort of smooth sailing without, there were some issues which everybody knew at one point, but now nobody really knows what's going to happen. And especially when it comes down to the current administration, the Trump's administration, even the people who are within his earshot, even they don't know what he will come out with. And tomorrow, April 2nd, as he declared that it's going to be a Liberation Day, everybody is anxious or nervous about what would happen. So how and what would happen, we definitely are going to discuss. But first of all, the most important thing which we need to talk about is how the dictatorships take the shape. If we look at what is happening worldwide, starting with the Putin, then we have China, President Xi, we have Modi in India, who is heading into that direction also. And within democratic countries, we have in Orban in Hungary, Tayyip in Turkey, and now we have our own President Donald Trump. Okay. Robert Reich, who was a labor secretary with the Obama administration, he actually put out a list, which I'm going to read to you one at a time. These are 20 signs of emerging dictatorship. And when you really look at it, you will find the similarities. And one of the things which you definitely will see, because today is Tuesday, April 1st. Yeah, it is April Fool's Day, but at the same time, we do have elections also. There are 2 congressional elections in Florida and 1 for a judge in Wisconsin. Interestingly, American democracy used to be kind of like comparatively immune to being bought and corruption. But right now, if we really look at it, we are actually in thick of it, and everything is up for sale. Elon Musk put in more than $250 million to get President Donald Trump elected, and he is putting in close to $100 million in a Wisconsin Supreme Court judges election. It's a 10-year term. Okay. Wisconsin has its own constitution. The judges are elected over there, okay, in a different fashion. So he's putting in so much money. Literally, he is saying that for each vote, he will give some money. He has already written $2 million checks to the people, okay. When I was growing up in India, and even today, when you go to India, you see all this, money, bagfuls of money in the trunks of the cars being distributed, liquor, afim, and anything you can think of, even giving the motorcycles to some of the families where you have 20 votes or so. So it was how to buy the votes. Now, Elon Musk is exactly doing that here in United States. I'm not saying that the Democrats are probably not doing it, but it's so brazen from the Elon Musk side. It's unbelievable that he's openly bidding. And yes, he owns X, so he lies to the hilt, like Donald Trump. He lies to the hilt. And you will see in this list, which I'm going to read these 20, so that how it is, that science, how to control a country. And before I read the list, there is another thing which I want to say, that Donald Trump appointed a chief of army staff, and he made a statement that he put on a mega hat. And this morning, General issued a statement that I do not put on any hat and I do not participate in politics. So we will see how at the end of this term, the whole process, the judicial, army, Department of Justice, we already know that that's gone. It's not neutral anymore. It used to be. With all due respect, yeah, a lot of people may agree, may not agree with me on under Joe Biden. He did not interfere in DOJ. Even Merrick Garland, he started the process to prosecute Donald Trump and some of the people who attacked the Capitol only after the Democratic congressionals had the hearing after hearing, and they came out with this January 6th report. So his hands got tied because he had to do something, and that's what he did. It doesn't mean that he was like not to get medal into the presidential elections and stuff, and also that the Supreme Court's judgment, sort of like giving a blank check to Trump, has also emboldened him to do whatever he is doing right now. And as far as the Republicans are concerned, they're all in line. I think they are all like, okay, you become a dictator, you leave the power with us, kick out every Democrat. There should not be any opposition. Nobody should ask us any questions. And in the meantime, the Doge actually is how to show to the people who really don't understand how the cuts are going to affect them in short term and in the long term, to tell them, oh, we are giving you a tax break. You and I, we may get $10, $15, maybe $20. But for them, they are not looking at us to give a tax break. They are looking at those people who were standing right behind Donald Trump when he took the oath. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Pichari, and what's his name from Zuckerberg, all these people, they are billionaires and they will get the tax break in billions, not in $20, $100,000, not in millions, but in billions. They are going to get those tax breaks. And that's what they are planning to do. And that is what the whole shenanigan is behind that. Let me read these signs. Actually, maybe I should read it in the next segment because it is about time to take the break. So let us take a break here. After the break, I will then read one point at a time so that you, the viewers, can really grasp it and then look at it. And if you have questions, get back to me on the email which you see on the screen right after the break. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet. Okay, let us go through these 20 points which any dictator or tyrant will use. 1, demand personal loyalty from all appointees. We see that whosoever Donald Trump is appointing, the first and foremost is kissing his ring. If you don't, then you are on his S list and you will be either fired or Department of Justice, which the Attorney General body will be more than happy to come after you. That's another thing, where somebody they deported to El Salvador who was a green card holder. We'll talk about that also. Organize military parades and other choreographed show of force. During his first term, President Trump questioned after the French parade that why United States doesn't do it. If you are a powerful country, the most powerful country in the world, a person who aspires to be a dictator or who aspires to be the ruler for the rest of his life or her life, this is important. And it may happen. In Washington, D.C., we may see something like that. Okay? Threaten to fire independent prosecutors who get too close to the truth. So we have this judiciary system, Department of Justice, which used to be neutral, which is not neutral anymore, that they will appoint an independent prosecutor who will actually look into all those shenanigans, try to reach to the facts, and then put it out. Fire those who reach there. And even the prosecutors have been fired, including Preet Bharara, who was actually during his first term was in charge of New York Southern District, and he was asked for some loyalty, and he refused, and he was let go. Okay, just an example. Then refer to top-ranking military leaders as my generals, which means basically you are saying that he is my general, not the chief of the army staff or chief of the Air Force. It's like my general means he's my guy, my person, and he will do my bidding, and he will do whatever I ask him to do. Okay. Threaten to jail political opponents, which is already happening. And even Attorney General Bondi actually threatened a sitting congressional person from Texas who made a statement, and she said point blank, you make another statement and I'll put you behind the bars. As simple as that. But in the meantime, Elon Musk and his coterie, they can go on lying, and there's no statement, no threat, nothing at all. So that's another thing. Claim to have won an election by landslide even after losing the popular vote. Okay. Yeah, this time he did get 2 million extra votes, no doubt about it. So let's admit that. He got 74, Kamala Harris got 72 million, and it's not a landslide. It is not. Doesn't matter which way you stretch it. Okay. So, but claim it. And when he lost the election, he claimed that he got landslide votes, but it was rigged. So which means what? Never admit whether you lost or you're wrong. That's McCarthy way of doing the things. Okay. Stoke tensions abroad, even the specter of nuclear war, to distract from the tyrant's efforts to consolidate power at home. People generally, everybody loves their life, their family, okay? And most of them, they literally will put their life online for their kids and their family. So by creating the situations in abroad, they will do it. And then threaten that a nuclear war can break out and that nuclear attack can take place and you may get annihilated, killed, including your family and everything. So don't. Okay. So that's when you really look at it, and this is one of the reasons why he is distancing himself from NATO and everybody else, because within his mind he has different plans okay? And the people who may know about it, they are not sharing, okay? Circumvent the independent press and communicate directly with the followers, okay? American press used to be free. It still is to some extent, except some of the bigger newspapers like Washington Post, LA Times, they are into the hands of billionaires, and they dictate now what to write and what not to, what to dig into and what not to dig into. Unlike when Watergate happened, anybody who is really interested in watching how the independent press is and what independent press should be, they should be watching, all the President's Men movie and Good Night and Good Luck. Clooney is actually one of the actor in that movie. I have seen that movie. That's where I picked up Good Night and Good Luck at the end of my show. So President Trump, from day one, he always say anything which is not suitable to him, fake news. He's a liar. CNN is not even a newspaper. The Atlantic, which actually printed the defense minister, secretary of the, army, secretary of state, and other high-ranking people, they were planning and discussing the attacks on Yemen, and they included this journalist from Atlantic. And guess what? President Trump said, oh, it's a S newspaper, nobody reads it, nobody listens to him. And the reporter who wrote it and who was included in that chat, and he actually, he's used to, just use dirty language against anybody or try to put the person down because he thinks he's the only one intelligent in this world. Everybody else is just stupid. And sometimes when you really look at it, especially these days, when you look at all these things happening and nobody questioning him, except there are some resistance, coming up again now, that, yeah, of course, then he is intelligent because nobody speaks. In Punjabi, they say, kaun keh raniye agga tak. This is something, in English, they say that king has no clothes, but nobody will say that king has no clothes, okay? So that's what it is. Vilify legislators and judges who are critical of the regime, okay? We see it all the time. We have seen it previously also, that any judge who does not give a judgment to his liking is on target. Not only his target, but target of his followers. Which means what? Now, literally, practically, as I'm talking, the judges are getting more security because of the threats to them and their families. Why? Because when they give a judgment, immediately they become the target, and the government is spending more money on providing protection to them, which before that, people were just walking around. Nobody really cared about them. They were like a regular person. Yeah, you are a judge, fine, you are doing your job. I have no problem with that, but you don't need a security because you are a judge. Not anymore, okay? Repeatedly claim massive voter fraud in the absence of any evidence in order to restrict voting in subsequent elections, okay? Which we can see that he claimed voter fraud, okay? Mark Meadows, who was on his cabinet, he actually committed a fraud, voted twice in 2 different states. Let's take a break. After the break, I will be right back, and we will finish the list then. Welcome back to Mainstream. So Mark Meadows, actually, his chief of staff was the one who committed the voter fraud, okay? It's a fact. And they actually did ninja audit in Arizona, and Maricopa County, they could not find a single vote which was not genuine, not a single vote. But still, Carrie Lake from there, when she ran, she will always say voter fraud. President Trump, who lost Arizona at that point, he always claimed voter fraud, that because of voter fraud, he lost. So again, it goes down to which I discussed earlier, that never admit defeat. Just refuse to admit that, because not only you accept it, which actually to a person like me, it makes you a better person, that you are admitting that, okay, this is what happened and this is what it is. But no, okay. Turn the public against journalists or media outlets that criticize the regime, calling them deceitful and scums. I just talked about it, that how first deny the media its genuine role, and then pick up the journalists who actually question you. One of the journalists from CNN ended up actually resigning from CNN, Jim Acosta, because he always asked tough questions to the then president, who is again president now. And every time he asks a question, either the President Donald Trump, he will ignore him, or he will, consider him as a scumbag and somebody who, like, I should not say it, but sometimes, when you are walking by, you see a homeless person in a really bad shape, you feel bad about it. But at the same time, you also say, look at that, okay. So, okay. The next is repeatedly tell big lies, causing the public to doubt the truth and to believe fictions that support the goals of the person. Okay. Everybody knows that Donald Trump lies to the teeth, to the hilt all the time. And he goes on lying and lying and lying, and there are very few people who will counter it. Facebook used to have fact check, that every statement made by any elected person, it will be immediately fact checked, and with the statement, it will tell it is a false statement or what is right and what is wrong. As soon as November elections happened, Mark Zuckerberg was the first one to say that he is going to eliminate that fact check part of this whole thing. Okay, so a person who actually is just watching news from social media, from the platforms like Facebook, X, which is Twitter, which is Elon Musk, which is buying the elections, or you have this Alex Jones show, you have Steve Bannon, all these people. When you just are into their sphere, you're not looking out, you're not watching the news, you're not going to the other media outlet to confirm whether whatever is happening or not. And there is no way to find out unless you go out, and you refuse to do it. So at the end of the day, what happens? You start believing that lie, which is repeated 100 times, and now it gets repeated 1,000 times because it's forwarded to everybody without even looking at it. And that all of a sudden, that lie actually becomes, another fact. Just something popped up. I'm not done with the list yet, but President Trump actually, Trump administration will cut funding to research grants for Princeton University. They have already said to block a couple of $1 billion for Harvard University. So I will talk about that later on. Okay. Then next is blame economic stresses on immigrants or racial or religious minorities and foment public bias and hatred against them. Exactly, that's what he did. I still remember when I ran for assembly, I was going door knocking, and I went to this gentleman's house who was from Haiti originally. He was born and he grew up here in the United States. And I'm repeating his statement. When I, introduced myself. I asked him where his family comes from. After he told me, and I told him, I said, I'm really sorry what's going on, what is happening. And he said to me, he said, well, I thought I had friends, but no. He said, all my white friends started questioning me if we do eat cats and dogs after Trump made a statement. So now the question is, these guys grew up with him and he is already in his late 30s. So they knew him for more than 30 years. They sat together, they ate together, they played together. They will not trust their own experience, but they will listen to this liar, the President Trump. And they will question him, and that ended up their friendship. Okay? So that's how the immigrants are targeted, one group at a time. And I can tell also, there were a lot of Asians who supported Trump during last election, a lot. Okay? And trust me, you will also be on a chopping block. It's just a matter of time, because Elon Musk just made a statement that the Western civilization is at stake, which means the white supremacists, their power is at stake, which has been chipped away slowly but surely to make our life better. So stay tuned. Okay? Threatened mass deportation, registries of religious minorities, and the banning of the refugees. Okay? This is exactly what he's doing again. People are being picked up. Even the people who are here legally, they are being picked up. When he picked up this green card holder from Columbia University, and then this lady from Wisconsin got picked up, who also was a Muslim. And now another student left America, went to Canada, who was a research scholar on a visa. His visa was, revoked. So what we are seeing, what is happening is the brightest minds in the world who always aspired to go to the United States and spend their life in inventing something or making something better than what it is there already on the earth, they will not be coming to the United States. So US will not be powerhouse of the research and cutting edge technologies anymore. We're not thinking like that, but we better start thinking like that. Okay? Attribute acts of domestic violence to enemies within and use such events as excuses to beef up internal security and limit civil liberties. Okay? That reminds me, when Black Lives Matter protests took place. Yeah, there was frustration for getting equal treatment. But now it's more openly unequal treatment and nobody is talking about it. There are no protests. Why? Because they know that our civil liberties are already under attack. And one of the reasons why Chuck Schumer went along with the CR, the continuing resolution for the budget, was that if it is not done, the president will have unlimited authority and he has no interest in coming to the table to discuss. If the government is shut down, let it shut down. If the services are not there, let it be like that. He does not care about your life or my life. For example, Trump said it, Elon Musk said it, that the people are getting, for 100 years, they are getting Social Security. For God's sake, show me the proof. Which means, you got Social Security at 62 years of age. Maybe before that it was 58 or 59. Show me the proof. Where is the proof? Nobody asked, nobody questioned. Everybody believed. So they are cutting. Let's take a break, and after the break, I will be right back. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet. Okay, now Next is appoint family members to high positions of authority, which we all have been seeing. We saw in the first administration, and we see it now again. The people, and in the meantime, the next one also is very interesting. Draw no distinction between personal property and public property profiteering from public office. That is exactly what is happening. Trump's son-in-law got $2 billion from Saudi Arabia, even though that wealth fund actually did not agree with giving him $2 billion. But the prince, MBD, actually said that no, give it to him. Why? Because they want to be on good terms with Trump. So here we go. The people will come and stay at Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. They will pay higher money to stay there. Even the security which is provided to his family, they will stay there, and those security had to stay there because of that, they are with them. And the government is actually paying their stay in those hotels, in Trump Hotel, which otherwise they don't have to. Okay, here we go. Draw no distinction between personal property. Okay, make personal alliances with foreign dictators. That he has been doing. Remember when he met North Korean Jim across the line, and he was like, oh, here I am on the North Korean side, nothing happened to me. General public, basically, there are things which they don't understand because they are more interested in bread and butter, putting the meal on the table, and things like that. Okay, but when you look at the history of the world, this is how dictators control everything, and this is how then they work on it. His love for Putin and Xi, Orban. Why? These are the reasons. Orban actually first controlled the judiciary before he became what he is today. And that is exactly what Trump is trying to do when he attacks the judges and the judiciary. And now we have Elon Musk pouring in millions of dollars in judicial elections. Anybody who gives any decision against them, because they are saying interpret the law in our favor. If it is not written, then write it in our favor. And if you can't do it, you're no good to be a judge. Whereas the laws are written by the Congress, and that Congress does not exist anymore anyway. So doesn't matter which way you look at, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Okay. And last but not the least yet, maintain a powerful propaganda arm that claims to be fair and balanced, but only amplifies the lies and accusations of the person, which we see all the time. This is really interesting. This is again from Robert Reich, and it is on Substack. Substack is one of the new online media outlet which I am subscribed to, and that's where I get a lot of information also. So those are the point. Now, when we look at it, we just honestly, I myself, I don't know where to start and where to stop. Now we are, like I mentioned, tomorrow is going to be, like he said, that tomorrow is going to be the Freedom Day or whatever the day he called it. The reason is because he is going to announce more tariffs. Now, this is before the end of the show. I want you to understand what is happening, how these things are going to take shape. Probably, I'm not definite, but This is how I'm looking at it. When he announced the tariffs on Canadian and Mexican, Canada and Mexico, they always work together with the United States. They decided to circumvent that and have direct negotiations. And I'm pretty sure if you don't see it in the front, but somewhere in the back doors, there are already teams discussing between both those two countries how to have the free trade agreement between those two countries, which will benefit both the countries minus United States. And during his last term, President Trump actually gave $700 million to a company in Indianapolis not to move their business to Mexico. Okay? And it was to save 70 jobs, which was $10 million per job was given to the company. Guess what? Company took that $700 million and still 6 months later they shipped that job overseas to Mexico. When we talk about we get so much with our dollar, the dollar goes so much as compared to other currencies. Why? Because manufacturing takes place in those countries where the labor is cheap and the products are shipped over here. So if you have to produce same stuff in the United States, just imagine, either you create a new class of slave labor to produce it real cheap, but if you want to have a class where the wages are decent, living wages, which is called, and if you expect those products to be at the same price, it will not be. Number two, tariffs. One of the, I think it was his Secretary of Commerce, he said, well, tariffs are, a tax break. Give me a break. There is so much lie going around right now that nobody really understands. Why? Because they want to make sure that the people don't mix up that the tariffs actually are paid by you. When they say, oh, businesses will absorb it, no business absorbs any tariffs. Why would they? Because they make money by selling you the product. And if the tariff is on the product, they will pass it on to you. Why would they pay out of their pocket? They will not. And it is another big lie, which is being pushed down your throat to believe it. And I personally am really shocked and surprised at the ignorance on the from the people, that they just don't understand what tariffs are, how it will affect them. Some of the tariffs are already affecting. In the Midwest, the breweries which actually produce beer, which are in aluminum cans, because there is tariff on aluminum which comes from Canada and other places, they can't sell it the way they were selling it. So they are laying off the people. And some of the breweries may end up shutting down. He's claiming, the President Trump is claiming that he's putting on the tariffs to bring the manufacturing jobs to United States. Actually, he is killing the jobs in the United States right now. There are jobs available. It's not that jobs are not available, but because everything is so much high tech, you have to be proficient in the computers, understand the machines, machine language, working with the machines, and you have to get those trainings and do it. The generation here, they are not willing to do that. The products, the produce from the farms is picked up by immigrants. It is not being picked up, and it will not be picked up. And anybody who is saying to the president or the Doge that we are going to not let you into this thing, they are just letting them go. And as of today, Health and Human Services, John F. Kennedy Jr. fired close to 10,000 employees. Vaccinations are being said that they are, not required. We have measles outbreak. We have polio coming back. And we have all these things coming back. And like I said before at the beginning of the show, just wait and watch. Everybody, those who supported him, those who did not support him, they already knew where we are heading, but those who supported him, they will regret it. With that note, till next time, good night and good luck.